And if it's a long one, I'll wake up and it's like 10 chapters advanced.
Yeah.
But anyway, talking about the elections, we want to talk about the Ethan Liming revelations, which actually happened 2 days ago. We almost missed it. And I think that was on purpose, even though I was surprised that, was it Fox 5 Cleveland decided to, or News 5 Cleveland, not Fox 5, News 5 Cleveland even covered this. Obviously, Akron didn't cover it. But we'll talk about that a little bit. They definitely were hoping to hide that behind election news, I think. I think that they were.
Well, Justice Report, I got to give Justice Report credit, blasted it out first thing this morning.
Yeah.
And I read it, and I was like, whoa, what's this? And then I clicked on it, and then I immediately started reaching out to you, Jack, and we were talking about it. And
we
Jack,
just actually do that first, because it ties into the election. So if I go to, let me get to the Justice Report. There's a Justice Report, and they still have the link up.
Yeah,
they still have the link up. I want to see the News 5 article because they have a video that we can watch, so people can understand what's going on. Let me get this up here. Here it is. So here's a video. Again, this video is already playing, so hold on a sec.
Toy gun and ended with a beating and a teen killed. Now his family is questioning the pursuit for justice. 3 people were originally charged with murder and felonious assault in Ethan Liming's death, but that all changed when the grand jury got the case. Tonight, News 5's Tracy Carless speaks exclusively with Ethan's father about what he says are injustices his family is now facing.
I just don't feel like I can remain silent any longer.
Bill Liming's son, Ethan, was a star athlete, an A student, a rising senior. Summer vacation had just started when Ethan Liming was brutally beaten and killed. Now, months later, his dad feels like he is being victimized by the justice system.
I naively believed that, once the people that murdered my son were caught, that the justice system would just simply handle things. We've said all along that we were confident when the facts of the case were presented, that Ethan would receive justice.
But the grieving father feels that hasn't happened.
The people who have the power to stand up for my son are not doing it. And so it's up to me, as a father, to speak for my son who cannot speak for himself.
17-year-old Ethan Liming and 3 friends drove to the I Promise school parking lot in Akron. Liming told me his son and another friend sat in the car, while the 2 others got out. Police say that's when a water bead was fired from a toy gun. It came from a splatterball water bead blaster aimed at a group of young men playing basketball. It was part of a TikTok challenge. Liming says Ethan's friends ran back to the car. The group of men initially ran away too.
When they figured out that the car, they were not being shot by a real gun, decided to go and confront Ethan and all of his friends who were in that car.
According to court transcripts, Ethan stepped out of the car. He was confronted by the 3, and that's when he fired a splatterball water bead. That led to the fight that killed him. Liming says his son was punched, kicked, stepped on, and beaten. One of Ethan's friends called 911.
We're at the I Promise school in Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
Our friend just got knocked out.
According to court transcripts, one of the 3, Donovan Jones, was kicking the car, trying to get in. And when he does, starts punching the other friends, trying to drag them from the car, while one is on the phone with 911.
How old is he?
Prosecutors say video surveillance captures them running from Jones. Police originally charged Deshaun Stafford, his brother Tyler, and their cousin Donovan Jones with murder. But in July, a grand jury indicted them on lesser charges. Liming blames the Summit County Prosecutor's Office for that decision. He doesn't believe all of the facts were presented. Akron police said back in June, race was not a factor in the killing.
There is nothing that we have in our possession right now, any information at all indicating that race played a role in this homicide. Nothing.
But Liming isn't so sure.
I would like to believe that race doesn't play a role in this. I'm married to a Filipino woman. She's got black cousins. When we get together for our extended family gatherings, for birthdays, for graduation parties, for holidays, we're a beautiful picture of what we hope to be as a society. But when I asked Brian LaPrinzi in the initial prosecutors meeting that I had with him I asked him if race made a difference, if my son's skin color made a difference in the way in which they're approaching it. And he said yes.
There's something.
So hold on a second. Real quick. We'll go watch the rest of this. There's more stuff that he says. But, like, again, it's very interesting that he says all this stuff about his multicultural family. I'm not going to harp on that too much. But he says that, yet he still knows to ask that question. That's pretty interesting, right? Mm-hmm. That's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. And I believe that Brian LaPrinzi did say yes to him. I believe all of this.
He's
stuff.
not lying. He's not lying.
None of what he is saying is not lying. Is a lie.
This guy is not lying.
Because there would be no reason for him to be silent for so long and then break the silence with lies. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like if it was true, like if he wasn't confronted with all of these things, he probably would just stay silent.
Yes.
Like he's breaking his silence because them piling up became intolerable. I believe Brian LaPrinzi told him that race like complicates this case or something like that, or it's a tough case because of racial issues, or we don't possibly even said we don't want to be seen as racist. He might have even said something like that. We don't know exactly what it was.
Well, I mean, I think we see what happened in that town with the other thing with the black guy and the other BLM. So clearly that is a racially charged environment. Clearly, there's racial politics looming over the police department,
which everybody knows
over the DA, as it has been in the whole country,
even
but particularly there.
Also, Ethan Liming's mother is not this Filipino woman. If you've seen pictures of her, she's just a blonde white lady. So obviously they were divorced or something like that, and he got an Asian wife or something. Anyway, so just before anybody's saying like this kid's half flip or something, it's just not freaking true. Like it's just okay. Obviously he's white. Look at him. Right. Anyway, everybody knows this stuff. Even somebody with the flip wife knows this stuff. They understand it. We get it. They see. Everyone understands the bias inherent in the system.
Yeah.
It's clear. Why did a guy who is a believer in multiracialism and has such a beautiful picture of an new American family, how did he even know to ask this question? Because if this beautiful picture of America is true, why would it even occur to you?
Well, and also a point that you have made repeatedly, why does he feel the need to bring that up?
Well, I understand why he feels the need to bring that up. I don't think it speaks particularly highly of him, but I think that in the context of this video, it's highly discrediting this video makes that ideology look dumb. It makes him
absolutely.
It makes him. I don't even think he looks particularly like he's trying to cover for himself. I think he's like scolding the system for saying, "I did what you wanted, and you did this to me."
Yeah,
I don't actually get the idea of like. I don't get the feel from him that he gives a shit right now. I don't get the feel from him that he's like saying, "Please don't come after me." I more get the feel that he's saying, I did what I was supposed to.
Yes,
and you did this to me.
Yeah. Well, this is Mike. I mean, you gave two speeches, one at a private setting and one in a public setting, where you basically contrasted the behavior of the Ethan Liming family to Jupiter Paulson's dad. And you said
bet you he heard the one that I said in public.
Yeah, you said it, and you pointed it out, and you didn't go out of your way to badmouth or attack these people for this the way they handled this. Personally, we've talked about it many times. I talked about it with Jazz Hands. It's
a tough thing.
It's a tough
to say something about somebody whose family member died. But what my point was, and I don't know. He knows about us. He knows that we protested. He chose not to get involved. That's his right. That's fine.
Right.
But I'll bet you he was watching it, and I'll bet you he kept looking at our stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you he saw that speech.
Yeah.
I'll bet you he's been following us secretly, looking at our stuff. There's no reason why he wouldn't. I mean, why wouldn't you? The only group in the country that took an interest in your son's death, and you are now saying exactly what we were saying. I guarantee you he heard the point that I made.
Yes.
Which was that, like, look, And I think that maybe eventually, after all this time, it got to him. I can't say
he must have
he's
known
doing
about
this
our
because of.
protests, too.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. He definitely knew about our protests. There's no question he knew about them.
Yeah.
It would be impossible for him not to have known about them. Right. And like I said, even if you don't want to come out and stand with us, and I understand that, whatever, that's his choice. If we're the only group that is out there taking an interest in what happened to your son, that's got to make you seem like, okay, let me take a look at this people. Who are they? Who are these people?
And I'll tell you something else. I think that given what we now know, what he has just revealed.
Yes, there's more to be revealed here.
Yeah, he's given us with this interview and with what he said publicly now, he's given us some big pieces of the puzzle that are maybe why, that explain a number of things. One, why especially maybe the media has blacked out what we've done. And really, there's been like a directive. I mean, there's no question in my mind that there was a top-down directive.
Yeah, absolutely. The media is controlled top-down.
I mean, and I'll tell you something else. We've had, since the last time you and I did a show together, we had Memory TV and the ADL. And Memory TV has, I know they're a joke, but they have there's a lot of Jews who are, there's a big network that is in that. And they've talked about us before, and it's always behind a paywall. But they talked about the NJP as a growing threat. Or not even a growing threat, as a
Memory TV
growing,
did. I didn't know that. I knew the ADL did. I didn't know that Memory.
They said
we can't ever see their stuff because they're all paywalled. Yeah,
we're rapidly growing, and that we have political aspirations, and it's all paywalled. But this was not behind the paywall. And then the ADL, of course, and I made a big deal out of this, that the ADL, in justifying their boycott of Twitter that they organized that cost Twitter all this revenue, they mentioned us third in a tweet thread after Kanye West as a reason why they organized the boycott of Elon Musk's Twitter. So we know the ADL is closely watching everything we're doing, and we know that they have contacts with all the local media and the TV stations, and I am certain that a directive, that phone calls were made and directives were handed down to deliberately to not cover this, for them to not talk about it at all, what we did. And now we're seeing why, because there was a racial motive that is being actively covered up.
Yeah.
And
there was never a question that this happened. But we got a little bit of insight thanks to what is effectively a whistleblower, who I think is a cop. I think based on Liming's statements, I think he has a contact in the police that is.
Why would the Akron police, when we were out there, Mike,